It's an early start for James Banks. It always is. He arrives for work in the early hours of every morning, but here's the twist. There's no guarantee of a payday. Today he exercised a number of horses for Alex Hales near Banbury, but he will spend similar mornings with other trainers to build up his contacts.
Typical Friday morning, up at most mornings 5:30, 6 o'clock, and we get to our yards. I ride out for various different trainers, be a different trainer each day of the week.
A jump jockey's race riding fee is on average £160, but take away the cost of petrol, his agent expenses and insurance means James may only take home half of that amount.
I also have an agent working for me who books my rides. I can get spare rides without having to do the work in the mornings, but in the season when it's busy, I'd ride out for sort of 7 different trainers, and maybe that might be from Monday to Sunday, whereas if I can fit it in. There's a lot of driving involved as you're sort of going from one place to the other.
A deal with a jockey's agent is imperative for James's career as he strives to make a name for himself.
In third place is Mr. Fizz under James Banks in the blue.
The main problem to start with was, I suppose, and he was saying the same, keeping the lid on him, because he was volatile, should we say, to start with. Not necessarily with me, we've always got a great working relationship, but everybody else that I spoke to had said that was the main issue with him.
Based in North Yorkshire, Russ has been in the business for over 18 years. He has a professional but very close-knit relationship with all his jockeys, and in particular with James.
So I'd worked on getting rides, which is what I'm there to do. But on the other side of the coin is, after he'd ridden, we'd have that one-to-one relationship of just talking about his rides, about life in general, and after a period of time, you could see it in his rides that he was a different character, and it was that calming influence, I suppose, manifested itself in him and in his riding, and that's what I could see, and I think that has helped him achieve his goals or achieve what he's capable of doing.
The up and down results that James has on the track will always have an impact on Russ's day.
It's a bit like a marriage. You are going to have good days and you are going to have bad days. But if he was a good jockey yesterday and I'm a good agent yesterday, if you both have bad days, I don't become a bad agent overnight. He doesn't become a bad jockey overnight. So you work through it. And you're both putting in the same direction. If you get on with him or you get on together, that's a bonus. But 3 years down the line from him originally, getting together, I think we get on great. He knows where I come from. I know what's good for him. I know when to ring him. I know when not to ring him. And it seems to work.
James is a sportsman who every day risks life and limb for little financial reward. In May 2013, James suffered a career-threatening injury after falling from a horse he was exercising. He was airlifted to hospital with a fractured femur bone in his upper thigh. Daloni Lucas is a sports physiotherapist who is responsible for fixing jockeys after their falls.
His immediate care was dealt with in hospital, and he had an intermedullary nail put through, so they actually put a nail through the centre of the bone to stabilise the fracture. He then came here after the surgery, and we started with maintenance for the rest of his body, because essentially initially post-op we couldn't weight bear and couldn't load. So it was a lot of low-grade Pilates, core stability, just activation exercises that he started with because we couldn't stress the leg.
Every 16 rides, jump jockeys are destined to hit the ground, and James's previous injuries have hindered him in more ways than one.
Taking into account that obviously as a jockey, he's had previous traumas and previous injuries, and he has an issue with his pelvis. So one of the things that we had to do whilst he was hobbling on one leg is try and maintain the previous issue with the pelvis.
Run by the Injured Jockeys Fund, Oaksey House in Lambourne is a multi-sport clinic offering rehabilitation and fitness services that are vital for a jockey's career.
The injury rate for jump jockeys, 1 in 33 rides having a fall, and I think it's about 1 in 100 rides for the flat. It's inevitable that they're going to get injured. It's a very physical job and there are a lot of risks involved, and therefore having this facility it's just, if you ask any of the jockeys since it's been here, it's definitely changed the way they manage themselves, but we're also changing the culture in racing.
Tape's gone back, they're off. For the 888sport.com novices hurdle, 2 miles and 5 furlongs, 10 flights to jump.
On to Kempton Races for James's only ride of the day.
9, the Hill of the Rock from the Jim Best yard. So number 9, the Hill of the Rock, judged to be best turned out in our third race of the afternoon. And looks as if we've got a very short prize favourite here in 1 to the Governor.
Jockeys are desperate to get on that one good horse that can catapult them from ordinary jockey to superstar, like Tony McCoy. The catch on race day is that James must weigh no more than 11.5 stone. His horse, Mr. Fizz, is an outsider, but he runs well and finishes third.
Leads up here by a length and a half to Port Mellon, the heavily backed favourite, racing in second. In third place is Mr. Fizz. Come on! The Camper for Charlie Longston, who beat Port Mellon into second place. Mr. Fizz, big run in third.
The owners are happy, the trainer's happy, and I'm happy, and the horses hopefully come out of the race well.
Jump jockeys are made of steel. Nothing stops them, weather, sickness or injuries. James knows only too well how unpredictable the sport can be.
This last week just gone, my rides weren't as good as the previous week, but that's the way it goes, and everyone has different calibre of horses that I ride. So this week, yeah, I had a few tumbles, a few unseats, a few falls, and also a few placed horses, but I actually thought that this horse was going to be one of my best rides of the week, and he's proved me right. But that's the up and down of the game, and you just have to dust yourself off and go again the next day, you know.
After every race, nothing gives his agent more pleasure than receiving feedback from connections.
If they're happy with James, whether he's won, whether he's finished last, if they're happy, they will come back. And I get an enormous amount of self-satisfaction out of people ringing me up or texting James, saying thank you very much and everything else. Because then you're building that foundation so that when he does have bad days and upset people, because you will do in this game, you've got enough clients to fall back on to keep your career generally heading in the right direction.
James is an athlete who has pushed himself to the limit to achieve success as a professional jump jockey, but not getting paid a set retainer means he very rarely has a day off.
They are self-employed individuals, and if they're not riding, yes, whilst they have insurance that will bridge the gap, when they're off, they do lose the contacts with and the rides that they have, so they lose that that sort of work base that they've built up, the connections with the trainers, etc., to book the rides. So they can almost start from scratch. So they're very much keen to get going as soon as they've been injured, as soon as they're discharged from hospital. They want to get started.
No matter the results on the racetrack, every morning James will ride out, but it is not without fear of getting hurt.
It beats working for a living anyway, and you know I really enjoy what I do, and yeah, I get a good thrill out of racing, and it's going to be hard to replace it when one day I give up.
The job comes with a huge amount of uncertainty, contrasting emotions and little pay. If you don't have a deep love for horses, you need not apply.